First, a social movement that swept across the entire country. Then, shocking decisions by local authorities and the mass removal of national symbols. In the United Kingdom, a row is brewing over the Raise the Flag campaign, which, as a grassroots protest against the government's migration policy, has not been well received by politicians and activists from immigrant communities. English national symbols are disappearing from public spaces, and the British are asking more and more loudly whether their identity still exists. It started with a scandal in one of the hotels for illegal immigrants. The sexual assault of a teenager by a foreign asylum seeker sparked a wave of protests on the streets of British cities. A growing number of British people are critical of the government's migration policy and the payment of illegal immigrants' stays in hotels across the country. To express their opposition, people spontaneously began hanging English and British flags in random places in their neighborhoods. Videos of these actions began appearing on social media and quickly spread across the country. Operation Raise the Flag seems to be a social campaign. People spontaneously began buying UK and England flags, raising them in various places, and painting flags on sidewalks, monuments, roundabouts, etc. Patrick Ney, a British blogger and filmmaker who has been living in Poland for 15 years, is currently in the UK, working on a documentary about his homeland. He admits that he was sure he would no longer find any traces of patriotism in the British Isles. I thought that the British no longer had this patriotism because for a long time the flags of the United Kingdom and England have been considered racist symbols. It's not even controversial. If someone has such a flag at home or in front of their house, it means that they are probably racist. That's what people have been saying for years. The problem is that what for many English people was a form of expressing their devotion to their country and its identity was not liked by what Patrick calls the New Britons, meaning immigrants or descendants of immigrants who came to the UK. Given that many of them now hold public office and even sit on municipal or county councils, orders were quickly issued to remove the flags from public spaces. In a few years, it may turn out that the United Kingdom will only be a kingdom on paper. It will no longer be a European country. It will only be a country that does not really have its own cultural identity, because the melting pot of nations that is currently taking shape in the UK unfortunately means that we cannot speak of a homogeneous state that would be able to remember its own history and identity. What angered the British most was the way in which the patriotic initiative was dealt with. In many places, municipal services tore down flags and threw them on the ground. In many places, people with English flags in their hands or on their clothes were harassed or refused entry to bars and pubs run by immigrants.
Leave it slowly, trespass. It is no...
According to British sociologists who are watching what is happening in the UK with increasing concern, cultural divisions are becoming more and more visible. Muslim customs, holidays, and symbols are beginning to replace British ones, and in the name of political correctness, no one is resisting this. I talked to people in the countryside, in the city, in poor neighborhoods, in rich neighborhoods, and I was surprised at how often people didn't want to talk about their views. And this is related to so-called self-censorship, because people in the UK know very well that if they say the wrong thing, or even think the wrong thing, they can be arrested for their views. This, in turn, generates two possible scenarios. Either the complete collapse of British national identity, limited to the role of an open-air museum, or civil war, the symptoms of which are already visible on the streets of British cities.